What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Digital Cypha. I am Ebonics, and I am joined with the Don. I'm sorry, not the Don. Dio Zales. Dio Zales, what is going on?
Doing good. Don's here with us in spirit.
Yeah, he's here in spirit. No one knows he is. I think he's in an alley somewhere. You know. Anyways, but we are here once again. It is our 17th episode. Um, this week has been interesting. I finally got my Xbox headset for the Series X. It's the new joint that came across. If you haven't heard about it right now, it's don't know where you've been, but Xbox dropped this headset. It's like almost like a multi-purpose headset, to be honest, because it connects to your PC, your mobile device, your Xbox. I think I'm missing some other things, but it's completely Bluetooth with the USB-C connection to it. Now there have been some things that came across where it's a lot bassy, and I agree, it is bassy. It is.
Okay.
It is definitely bassy. I was playing ESO, that's what you're seeing on screen today, and my horse have never galloped so hard, audibly, audibly, in my whole entire ESO life. I'm telling you, it is bassy. But there is hope. Xbox has provided the Xbox Accessories app for both Windows and for Xbox
Okay.
console. So you have the opportunity to change bass, and which is weird because there is a plus boost. There's a plus and negative, I think it is. No, there's just plus, and then there's none. From none and then plus one up until I could be wrong, but I think it's 8 to 10 maybe.
Okay.
Like, me and Dio had this conversation before, and to me, I look at the Xbox headset kind of like Dre Beats for Xbox.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it, because it feels good when you watch movies. You're there. You're like, it's kind of immersive in a sense. For me, it is. But I'm just giving my opinion here. But man, when you jump into those games, that's where you start noticing the bass in areas that you didn't really, anticipate to hear bass. Like I said, the galloping of the horse is definitely noticeable. So for you, if that breaks immersion, you probably want to change that in the Xbox Accessories app. But outside of that, I haven't had any headaches. Usually I get headaches.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Because my head gets hot when I have headphones on.
You can breathe.
Exactly. So it felt good, comfortable, and everything. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
But value-wise, I mean, I know you're saying it's kind of bassy. They're having like a little fix for it. Comparing it to like anything in the same price range, do you think the value's there?
Bro. So early, I think it was either earlier this year or last year, I went and got a headset, just the Xbox headset. That joint looks like a funnel.
Oh, it's done.
Yo,
Both sides.
howdy.
Yeah, you messing up my joint, Don. You
Got
messing
that,
up
got
my
that funnel headset?
joint. You messing up my joint, man. I'm speaking, bro. What's going on? What's
Yo,
going on? Where you been? You should have been here. It's like a small little. Okay, perfect example. This might not be perfect, but you ever watch those Asian kung fu flicks, and they have like these cups that are super wide, but it's for tea?
Yes.
So imagine that with the the thing that goes to your ear to make it all comfortable
Okay.
on both sides of your head, right? That's what it looked like. So when you look at the differences between what came out on the Xbox original, Xbox One original, and then what came out on the Series X, is night and day. it's night and day. And for anyone who is just a casual gamer, you don't have the highest gen, not the highest gen, the highest quality of headphones. Like I have another headphones. I have a Corsair headphones, and that's like $399, like $400, and then I have a $200 headset from GameStop, which is also pretty nice. Those is quality, but there is no accessory app for them, so you get what you pay for, and they're good. They're very good, and they don't get bassy. And I think they're kind of meant for PvP, semi-competitive to competitive, just depending on the type of brand that you get. The Xbox headset, you would have to tweak that baby. I mean, you have to go into the app. They have like probably 4 to 6, 7 faders of equalizers, channels for you to mess with, because if you're playing a game like Halo or Siege or Call of Duty, there's a lot of blowing up going on.
Yep, exactly.
This is true.
There's a lot of bass going on. So if there's a lot of bass, you can't hear the closest person next to you running up on you, trying to get that stealth kill from behind. You know what I'm saying? Or shank you from the back. You won't be able to hear them because the headset has too much bass. So while I do recommend the headphones, I don't recommend it for people who are competitive day in, day out. It is purely for the casuals and for people who just, your headphone broke, you get a quickie, here's a $100 one, and it serves its purpose until you can afford to get the $400 or $500 headset. And you may be able to tweak it so you can get the same results. But tell me what gamer wants to tweak a headset?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that gamer wouldn't, but I'm talking about like a hardcore gamer probably would, but a casual gamer wants to buy it, put it on, and then run. So that's with that. I also want to confirm last week's episode, a panel member of ours was onto a speculation from Game Pass stating that there was...
I wonder who was that?
There was a specific hint that was put on the Twitter feeds about a signal and anomaly. Me and my, all wisdom said, the nonchalant thing that, someone who has no clue would say. It could be Mass Effect. It could be but two of the panelists actually agreed that it was Outriders, and then later this week it was confirmed that Outriders is definitely coming out to the Xbox Game Pass, which is pretty cool. So I congratulate the Don CJG for definitely coming up. Basically, he said it right. It was Outriders. And which brings to light some questions. The Outriders coming out to Game Pass, and then previously, which now I think this week, Nier Automata came out to PC, Game Pass PC this week.
Yep.
Can we assume, or do we see a potential blessing from Square Enix where those who are playing the Game Pass will get the Ultimate Edition of Outriders? Would that be a possibility? Because, there's a pre-order. I'm not saying the Ultimate Edition because there probably is no Ultimate Edition, but when you pre-order, you get this. Mm-hmm. Right? Would that be a part of Game Pass?
I don't think so. I'm basing that off of Master Chief Collection, where with MCC you only get the kind of base version, and then the Reach and ODST expansions aren't included with it. So I assume that you'll only get base version of the game, and then any additional versions will probably be paid.
But Master Chief Collections is Microsoft; they can do what they want with their stuff. We're talking about Square Enix here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like with Game Pass, though, I feel like if you're playing a game at it on Game Pass, I feel like you'd only want to put a base version. Then any Ultimate Editions probably be.
No, here's why I say this. Near Automata, right, for Xbox and for PC, the Game Pass version has everything. Has the DLCs, has a 4K resolution upgrade, all of that. Steam doesn't have it. So, if
I
Steam
think it's kind of apples and oranges though,
okay,
because with Outriders is more of a cosmetic thing, where Near Automata, like I think that's a really big play by Xbox, making sure that they get it to run so smooth and optimized on their platform. Like, hey, you can keep playing these games on Steam if you want to, but we're gonna take all that criticism you've been shooting at us for years about our, Microsoft Store on the PC, and we're gonna improve on it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It wasn't just the store. I know the store. I mean, let's be real though. Microsoft Store isn't the best.
No.
No.
I'm just being real with y'all.
It's got better, but yeah, it's not. It's not great.
But I think, I think that karma has played its best within the past couple of months. When it comes down to Xbox pushing its weight against the console competitors and platform, because when you look at it, you have PC. I mean, PC has a lot of games that no one knows exist.
Forget it. There's some games you don't want to know exist.
And then, so we see, oh guys, come on, Don. Come on, Don.
Dio's coming right at the end of the game. You don't want to exist.
Come back to reality, Don.
The deep dark hole of it.
Come back to reality, Don. You won't see it in the UK.
I have seen.
You won't see
I
it
have
in the UK.
seen some shit.
I think it's it, but all right. Anyways, because I think the longer we leave Don alone, he's gonna just like suck into a black hole somewhere, and then he's not gonna come back. So okay. Anyways, but we're seeing Game Pass fit that narrative where people who are publishing towards Game Pass, and we're not talking like AAA studios. We're talking about like indies and stuff. We're seeing some I can't say Steam quality. Maybe. I don't know. But I think Xbox is kind of trying to push the Game Pass around the area where Steam is and then go beyond that. Because Steam doesn't have a subscription. You just buy games. No. So with your subscription, you're able to then play these games off of these subscriptions versus like Valheim. Valheim is available for $39, still in pre-order, right? Phase. Imagine if that was on Game Pass. Like, I mean, the devs would have got paid off for the year, and there's a whole bunch of community people. Now, I'm not saying that they would do it. I'm just looking at the comparisons between Steam and Game Pass, like how that would work, as to why I'm thinking about the whole thing with Outriders.
Well, I mean, Phil Spencer did say you can play these games on Game Pass on any platform it's available. So, I mean, does that even move on to like Epic Games or Steam trying to incorporate Game Pass into it, somehow?
Ooh, Game Pass on Steam would be interesting. I don't know if it would happen, but I think.
Why are you asking these questions, Dio?
It could. It really could. For those Steam people who really want nothing to do with Microsoft Store at all, but they still want to play Game Pass, the money can be made, man.
There would have to be a solution that's an integration and not a direct port into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Game Pass itself is an app that exists on the Xbox. I mean, sorry, on the Microsoft Store. Are you guys? My apologies if you guys hear those notifications. Let me turn that off. If I can turn it off.
I didn't hear it.
Good.
No.
So, because I would say Steam and Xbox needs to collaborate so that there's an integration, right, between Steam and Xbox. I wouldn't say Game Pass has a place in Steam. Like, hey Steam, we're gonna pay you like $5 million, right? And then we'll have like a Game Pass section in there. That could be possible, but I believe it would probably be better if there was a collaboration to where Steam exists on Xbox and Game Pass exists on Steam, where it's the games, where it's just the games. You know what I mean? Xbox is not like pushing Game Pass on Steam, right? It's more of just, oh, this game is available. You know, you get a discount for playing it on Steam because of the partnership. But then the same thing happens. There's a Steam app on Xbox where you get a discount for playing this game through Steam on the Xbox when you buy it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? To me, that would make sense. But because Microsoft still has to play it safe. They just bought Bethesda. Anything more would become, oh, you're just trying to buy out the whole industry.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, anything else that you guys think? I mean, regarding this?
No, not really.
Gotcha. Speaking of partnerships, Sony has acquired stake into Evo. I'm not sure if they own it. I think it's a partnership between RTS and Sony as far as maybe ownership or stake or whatever. I haven't gone deep into the logistics of it, but that's an interesting move. Now let's be clear, right? This is Sony. This is not PlayStation. PlayStation is mentioned somewhere in there, but Sony bought Evo. PlayStation did not buy Evo. And I know a lot of people can say, well, Sony is PlayStation. Yeah, you can say that Sony owns PlayStation. PlayStation doesn't own Sony. So when we look at from that perspective, Sony bought Evo or have acquired Evo or stake or whatever. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Like, what comes to mind?
It's definitely an interesting move. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Evo is the, I guess, like esports fighting games platform, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe I've got a bit of a jaded perspective because I'm not really a big fighting game guy. I don't know how big that platform is necessarily, but you're looking at games like Mortal Kombat, Smash, that kind of whole genre. There is a big audience there, and I know that's popular. As for Sony buying a pretty big stake into that kind of company or wherever they did, I think, look, they're doing it for a reason, and I'm sure they have their justification for. I don't know what it is, but maybe they're trying to hold some kind of market share there, and maybe they've got their own fighting game coming up at some point. Who knows?
So, in relative to that, there was a statement that was made. I'm gonna get to Dio in a minute. I'm not sure if he was gonna jump in or not, but
yeah, I can wait.
It says, in order to deliver on the trust you have all put in Evo, we realize that we need an experienced strategic partner who truly respects the spirit of FGC, right? This is why we're excited to announce that Evo has become part of the joint partnership of Sony Interactive Entertainment and RTS. The new partnership is committed to bringing amazing tournaments and competitive gaming experiences back to you this year and beyond. We're thrilled to work with the teams at PlayStation and RTS to bring you EVO 2021 online this August. More information on the event will follow. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for your continued support. And then Tony and Tom Cannon, I guess they were brothers of sorts, maybe. So that was a message to the community, or of the Evo community.
Yes.
Dio, thoughts?
I kind of find it to be, if PlayStation themselves bought it, it would be a weird move for me because I can't think of any first-party fighting games they have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But like you said, it's a different pot of money because it's Sony who's acquiring it.
Right.
So this is them branching out, which is fine, which is cool, as long as they make money off of it. But to me, it would have been a better play for Xbox because they actually have first party fighting games like Dead or Alive and
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct. So it's kind of confusing to me. I just, and maybe I'm just ignorant about it because I don't play a lot of fighter games anymore like I used to. But I can't think of any first party Sony ones or PlayStation ones. So
I agree with that.
I don't know.
It probably
Weird
would
move.
have been something that would have been a Microsoft move. But more closely, if anything, more I would have Capcom or Bandai, to be honest, probably I would have seen to do a move like that where they would have been involved.
Oh yeah.
Because that's their life. That's their whole genre.
That's their bread and butter. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone, Capcom and Bandai. So with that, I was reading this today to Dio. It's interesting because Nintendo had a response.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Got fired.
Oh no, he monitors his face.
Nintendo had a response, and they, they respect the business move and partnership. But the key word that came across, and I'm looking for it because I actually found the article and I was reading it to Dio earlier, where they were saying something about, continuing efforts with Evo, and other platforms.
Yeah.
And when I heard other platforms, usually that means that they are now looking out of, looking other places, because as I mentioned with Dio, is like, I don't know if Evo even affects League of Legends and Smite and those type of genres. I think they have their own competition platforms, right? Esports competition areas or whatever. So that then tells you that, hey, our minds are just we're not there yet. We need to branch out, right?
Yeah.
To see what else exists, because then there's still the Call of Duties. What's esports they have, and is Halo connected to that? So. Because all we hear is about tournaments, and those are self-made tournaments by the community. But what about major tournaments? What exists out there? So that's going to be interesting. Nintendo. Oof. Not to mention being that it is going to be online. There's something about a netcode, a rollback netcode not being available is going to basically render the competition pointless for them, because they won't be able to handle lag in fighting games for those tournaments. So that's interesting. The only thing that comes to mind, honestly, if this works out, was a while back we heard that Sony and Microsoft partnered so that Sony can acquire some form of use for the Azure cloud in its business strategy, whatever.
Yep.
This could be a possibility where Microsoft's Azure cloud is powering esports. I mean, it's powering games already, so why not?
Definitely.
Yeah. So
branch it out.
Exactly, and it's just time will tell. This is just the beginning. We'll see what happens as we move forward. So other than that, Gotham Knights has been delayed. Anybody been looking forward to that game?
Honestly, I kind of forgot it was happening.
Ouch.
To be honest. I saw the news for that. It had been delayed, and I was like, it's a shame, because obviously the whole, Batman, Gotham games, this whole kind of, they've been great, and I'm not really surprised games are being delayed in 2021 after all of last year. But I think it's definitely a scenario where this could be happening more.
Oh yeah, it's been happening already with so many different games, right? So.
Definitely, man. I think it's just an industry-wide thing at this point. But, you're gonna see, maybe we're only in March now, right? Middle
Yep.
March. It's quite possible that next couple months we could even see more games delayed, or games you might expect to see at E3 or those kind of events might not show up now, just because industry-wide problems of developing from home and whatnot.
And I mean, in a way, I'm fine with that as long as the companies are acknowledging, like, hey, we want to send you guys a quality product. As long as they're being accountable for it, as opposed to just shipping something like, oh yeah, we'll fix it later, which has been the attitude before the whole pandemic. So you would think they would use that as an excuse to further make it even worse, right? Like, oh yeah, we have an excuse now to be shitbags, you know? So
yeah, definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think right now, especially after Cyberpunk, seeing that, you know, what's broken just isn't.
It's funny that you said that, because people are a lot more accepting now of games being pushed back since that. And it's pretty sad that Cyberpunk has been the example of why games should be pushed back.
You have to bear the cross, I guess.
Yeah. You know, so you're developing a game, and it's like, how are we at pushing it? Well, we don't want a Cyberpunk moment, right? So
right.
We're gonna have to.
Well, and that's the problem, right? Because this has been happening for at least, you know, probably I would say 5 years or so. But like that was like the straw to like break the camel's back, right?
Exactly. And you don't hear about what's that term where everybody's like hunkered down for like weeks in the studio with no sleep, crunch time. You're not hearing a lot about that either. You know, not to say we're still in the vibe where people are developing new games, people are releasing new games, but it's almost as though now people are secretive about how they're doing their games now. Like, you know, you don't hear crunch times, you don't hear about phases in the development process for a specific game. You just hear it's coming out, it's being pushed back. Nobody's asking why.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because like there's so much more like governments getting involved with gaming now, between loot boxes and then like regulations for workers, right? I think you're gonna start seeing a lot more like unions and everything pop up because of all this stuff.
Yeah. If unions, I think should have happened already. If to be honest, I mean, how many people are contracted into studios and then they have to leave and find new jobs? You know, or people who've been mistreated within the studio because they're not directly employed, or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying that this is a known fact. I'm just saying the possibilities, because it happens in business. So if it happens in business, it cannot be excused. It can be excluded from game development, especially when you have a start time. So again, I'm not a specialist in any which way in game development, but I do some form of web development. So when it comes down to strategizing how a website is put together, right? You have your strategy and planning, you have your design, you have your development, you have your testing, and then you have your release. That's almost 5 different stages of putting a website together. So I can only imagine the crazy amount of phases that goes into development, you know. Strategy and mechanics and story, narrative, you know, there's a lot. There's gotta be crazy amount. So to finish certain milestones and then go to the next phase, finish those milestones, next to the next phase, and then all we hear about is QA. Is in QA, it's gone gold, and we're just finishing up the bugs. I mean, 4-5 years of development. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
But then that goes to show like how a lot of these big like CEOs and other people within management positions are taking advantage of the devs and not working their full potential. I mean, like look at Activision. The CEO made like he got some certain amount of money for last year, and like they like literally fired like 200 more people, and they keep blundering back, right and left. Especially with this last Crash Bandicoot game that they're still trying to push out on people that no one wants.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I don't know, it's just crazy. Like I can't wait. I don't like seeing regulation just to have regulation, but when you see like an industry, especially when you have workers who just keep getting taken advantage of left or right, and honestly their fan base keeps kind of like crapping on them when it's really not their fault, it's management. Every time when a journalist looks really deep into it, it always ends up being mismanagement of time, you know?
Yeah.
And funds.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, man, it's kind of weird. We went from Sony. So D, there was something that happened this week, a show of I guess. You ain't gotta say it like that, bro. Like,
dude, every
sounded
show this
disgusting.
yeah, it's just been getting worse and worse. Like the Nintendo Direct was okay, all right, and at first I was like, okay, you know, Sony's gonna blow them out the water. Like, nope, Nintendo made them look like crap. And then I'm thinking, okay, Square Enix is gonna make.
But you see, like, Dio, when I mentioned it, and then Dio like, oh, like his eyes roll behind his head, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, man,
It's like, we gotta talk about this, huh?
I was highly disappointed with this Square Enix Presents.
Wow.
Highly disappointed. Like when I think of Square Enix, and I know they're a big publisher now, and they have you know, they're going to different genres, and they have, you know, little, you know, indie teams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I know them as a, you know, Japanese role-playing game company, like Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, you know, Romance Kingdoms, all that stuff. And I don't know, I just have a higher standard, like, of quality with them in my head. Like, they're S tier to me. So, like, when I see them open up, and literally the first, like, and I counted it, 8 minutes and 30 seconds is all about Outriders, even though we have a playable demo right now. And I thought that was gonna be the worst of it. I was like, it was okay because, you know, if you don't know about Outriders by now, with all the buzz on YouTube and Twitter and everything like that, that's just crazy as a gamer if you don't. But it's catching you up. Cool, whatever. You know, it was kind of redundant, but now everyone's on the same page. I guess it was kind of boring because it was just very low energy. Like the guy who was narrating everything was like pretty boring. So I don't know. I just found it to be like a lack of self-awareness.
Was he like that dude, Red Eyes type of dude? You know, this is what your eyes look like when it's like red, and this is clear eyes. You know that commercial?
I would say it was more like almost like the Peanuts, right? Like Snoopy and Charlie Brown when you had the teeth going wah 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 wah. I didn't care, dude.
No.
Yeah, I didn't care about any of the lore. I didn't care about any of the details. All I heard was wah, 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 wah. And I'm looking at pretty graphic. I'm like, wow, this looks really pretty. But I care about absolutely nothing he's saying.
Oh my gosh, this is worse than the commercial.
I mean, the Tomb Raider thing was kind of fluff, but which was fine because it's, you know, celebrating 25 years of Tomb Raider, which is awesome.
Well, you also have to consider this was Women's Month as well, so
yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, and I had no problem with that. I mean, it's cool that they announced that they had a little trilogy deal going on, and you know they're shouting out their little anime they're gonna have on Netflix. They're gonna have a little crossover with Breakpoint and Fortnite. So that wasn't too bad, and it wasn't like overly long, like how the whole thing with Outriders was. They showed mobile games for like Just Cause, which
interesting move.
Yeah, like why mobile though? Like
right.
I never really played Just Cause very much, but I know they're single player games.
Okay.
And
I'll put it this way for you. If I had my Xbox headset on a mobile device, there'd be like crazy amount of bass explosions, and my phone,
of course,
my phone would be super hot because of all the particle effects and special effects and everything else that goes off to make sure that there's flames and explosions going on. I mean, the game is like a haven, like a single player GTA.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
which is cool. But this looks like, I mean, I might be wrong, but it looks like it's supposed to be multiplayer.
Oh, really?
Which could be fun and cool.
Okay.
Was like, why is it only on the mobile? Why not make it cross-platform?
Right? Yeah, that seems it.
I'll drive the helicopter.
Yeah, like I had no problem with mobile games. Like if you can make a good mobile game, go ahead, but
No,
why would you limit the
feels
market
so
like that?
weird. It feels weird with the Kishi, because I got the Kishi, I got the Note, was it the Note 20? That had the
Yeah.
S20 and then the Note 20. So I got that. The screen is super huge. My fingers are like stretched to the to the top. So it's like the PSP, trigger, whatever. So you got two
Yep.
triggers at the top. That's kind of weird for me. I mean, it's pretty cool, but it's still
Yeah,
kinda
it's cool.
weird.
I
Yeah.
just wish that it was cross-platform. Even if they kept it at the same quality,
Yeah.
I think there's some people who would still like that because then you could have crossplay and have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're gonna have like a Hitman mobile game, but
Okay.
sniper assassin. So I mean, it's gonna be pretty much like point your finger here and he'll shoot kind of thing.
So
They
didn't show
is that like
anything, but-
XCOM?
No,
Okay.
it'll be more. I mean, they didn't show any gameplay, but I'm assuming it's gonna be like that game Sniper,
Okay.
but like even more simple because it's gonna be mobile.
Okay.
Believe it or not, that's what I was starting to get like really bored, and like then they went to like these Taito games, which are pretty much 2D games, and that's when I started to get interested again. And I was like, but these are just like old games, like what's it called, like Space Invaders and
No
Darius,
way.
Bubble Bobble, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like not like excited and hyped. But I'm like, okay, this kind of gave me some more energy. I could press through. Let's keep going. Maybe they're gonna show something really amazing. And it's like, no, Marvel Avengers.
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah. So I mean, they showed Hawkeye combat, and it looked really generic because I mean, he pretty much plays like the girl character they released. I forgot what her name is.
I have
but-
the image in my head, but I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that said it's gonna be 60, FPS at 4K.
Yeah.
Free upgrade to next gen if you already have it. That's nice. But
So
everything was like recycled stuff. I mean, they literally showed Taskmaster, who was already in the game already, instead of showing like a new big villain
Mhm.
and same old enemies. Like it was
Yeah.
just all recycled crap. The only thing that was new was like the little C1 Black Panther, but they didn't even get like an actual release date. They said later this year.
Yeah. Well,
No
I also
gameplay.
heard, I think I
No
saw
gameplay.
today that they delayed the Spider-Man DLC for that game.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could not even come out in 2021. That was kind of a big thing for PlayStation, and then that's
Yeah.
kind of been.
I mean, I know they increased the level cap too. That's what they said in there. But I mean, with the last update that they did, making it harder to level up. I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
looking forward to go and playing it, and then
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Especially the whole save debacle as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that on the Series X. Like, I already don't want to play Marvel Avengers, but if I had to go through that whole process, dude, like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's just
that beginning process
yeah.
was kind of weird. It starts you off in the story, and it's getting all good, and then you actually get your ship, and now you gotta go and you gotta do everything from a map. That was kind of like a weird cross.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of Avengers game. When I remember when that game got announced, I was like, really cool. Like, okay, Avengers, that is big hype in the theaters and whatnot. And then I feel like the game just kind of came out. It was just like, this ain't good.
Yeah. Like, how do you fail with, like, Avengers
Mhm.
makes money? Like, it's not even just the Avengers. Like, each Avenger has their own movies, right?
Right.
Like, how do you do that? I don't know.
I think just making it into a live service game, bro. That's what happened.
I mean, that's part of it. But, I mean, that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. It's just they did it
Yeah.
wrong. It's just...
Yeah, they is mishandling that.
But then
Gross
they
mishandling.
showed another game called Wonderland, which
I think I've seen that.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but
Okay.
it looks like a Dreamcast game.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Not in a
Interesting.
bad way. Like it's graphically up to date, but it has like a colorful.
It reminds you
looks
of
like one of
Knights.
those. Yeah, like Knights, exactly. So it looked cool. It looked interesting, but like the animations were a little stiff. How they looked, so I don't know. It had really heavy Disney type music going on in there too.
That's cool.
So yeah, pretty
I'm-
cool. You know,
I'm
if
down
you
for
wanna pick
some
up for
High School
kids.
Musical on a game.
But the longest thing that they played, which was the second last thing, was Life is Strange,
Okay.
the
Yes.
newest game. And I mean, it's definitely, I'm not the target audience for it.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, it's definitely more of a kind of tween kind of thing, or women who like Lifetime a lot, those Lifetime dramas.
Really?
But like you
Mhm.
kind of wanted to have like powers in there.
It's a lifetime.
It was long, dude. It went like for a whole like 11 minutes, and
Yeah,
I was
they
the
tend to
whole
do
time
that.
I'm just waiting for it to be done.
Yeah, when it comes to
Wow.
Life is Strange, there is a I don't want to say niche, but there is a definite community for Life is Strange. I remember
Oh yeah, for sure.
I played Life is Strange. I think I beat the first Life is Strange, and then things got weird, like on the second one, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm surprised they announced another game for that. To be honest.
Well, you see, this is the fourth entry,
Yeah.
right? This is not
Yeah.
like the third one was like
Mhm.
a dude was was a character, but it was two. So Life is Strange, the first character, and then they had like a second Life is Strange 2, and it was the same character but maybe grown a little bit or something.
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
there was a kid in the third one, and now this is hers. So this is their fourth entry with Life is Strange. Can we consider this a franchise at this point?
Yeah, it's definitely is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so.
And they're gonna keep making more on it. I mean, they're obviously making money. I mean, hey, the people who are enjoying it, that's good for them.
Yeah.
It's just definitely not my thing. I mean, like how you get those YouTube commercials, and
Mhm.
usually you skip it. I watched it.
Hmm.
I watched the YouTube commercial because I did not want to watch more of that, and I was like, okay, I'm
Oh
back to
wow!
it.
You trying to get some form of excitement in the
Dude, I still
commercials.
remember it was a DoorDash commercial. It was that much more interesting.
That's not, wow.
But and
Yeah.
it ruined the song "Creep" by Radiohead for me,
Uh-huh.
because like the character in the game. I mean, first of all, this is a video game. Like I said, I haven't played it, but I'm assuming they kind of deal with adult themes because that's what it kind of gives the hint off. But
Yeah.
they make it more dramatic. But like this character is singing "Creep," and like it's like the censored version. And I guess maybe they did it for YouTube. I don't know if the game's
Mhm.
gonna be censored too, but like she didn't say the F bomb, which is like that's part of the song. I don't know. They just ruined the song for me. I don't ever want to hear "Creep" again.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. This is gonna be the longest you ever heard Dio rant about something. Hopefully, the industry moves forward in a better light. Or we're probably gonna hear Dio talk some more about what he
Yeah.
thinks.
Well, I
Um,
mean, the last game that they had was I don't know if have you guys heard of Project AFA?
Oh yeah.
Afia
You
or
know
whatever?
what?
I have
I
not.
was hoping that was gonna be multi-platform, to be honest. But it's gonna be on
Yeah.
PC definitely. But I was hoping
Yeah.
it would go to like at least the X. But it's going straight to PC and PlayStation. It looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, it looks really pretty. I mean, the graphics were great. There wasn't enough in the story or anything to go off of, or even the combat. I mean, the combat looked kind of like magic-y, not really melee.
Somebody
Yeah, or
somebody
elf.
said it best when they said she moves like a warframe.
Yes, definitely moves like the Warframe,
That's sad.
100%.
Okay.
Like if you looked side by side, like you would think that it was Warframe, but like there's like a new option to take off your suit.
Oh, that'd be so cool if that was. If they did that, there would be no point.
Yeah. And for that, all it was 2 minutes, and just to get the name reveal, which the actual name is Forspoken,
Yeah.
and it's coming out 2022. So
I mean, it looks
We're gonna
good.
wait.
It has a good feel to it. When watching it, it has a good feel to it. It's just it looks like it's a little bit dry from a exploration perspective. There's not a lot, so maybe they didn't want to show too much, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, but it just comes off a little dry to me. So
the world's
I'm-
kind of dead.
yeah, so I want to see some more content, because I think maybe what you're alluding to is that there was a lot more dev talk than just gameplay. Not even that. Dang.
No, it was like 2 minutes long, and you heard a little bit from the
The main character.
the character actor
Yeah.
who they used to design the character actor, and who did all the actual actions for it.
Yeah.
but she didn't really give much of the story. She just said fluff stuff like she's enjoying it and it's an honor to do it, and
Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that as a YouTube entry. They had that separate.
Okay.
A separate video on YouTube for that, and that's what I saw. So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There was something I wanted to ask you, Dio. About a game. Dying Light 2. Have you heard news about that one? Something about
Dying Light 2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything new about it, but I've been waiting for it.
Something happened. We'll look into that. We'll probably talk about that next week. Well, unless Don, do you have something?
I do not have the information, but I'm curious.
It might be something more revealed next week. I was hoping maybe you guys had
Okay.
some
Maybe we can.
No,
we can leave that till next
I
week.
love part 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about the development and where they are and stuff like that. There's something that got released, but I didn't have time to jump deep into it yet.
Okay.
Don, what you got for us this week?
Ooh, what have I got? Right. There was an announcement what hit, I believe yesterday, day before. Microsoft doing a lovely little indie event later this month.
That's the 26th, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That kind of came out of nowhere.
No, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was known.
Well, oh yeah.
It was known. Don't fluff it up like that, man.
No, listen. I think there's always been kind of rumors that there's gonna be a March event. It's just, but I feel like Microsoft, especially this last week or two, have done a good job at just keeping the train going of news.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, like, this event, like, there's always been rumors of this March event, what it's going to be. And I think, this is obviously it now. The Indie Showcase at ID Xbox, March 26th, 9 a.m. PST. And I'm actually kind of excited for this, man. It's a bit... I know I'm a big FPS guy, but I feel like there's a lot of cool indie games that come to ID Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I always love watching these events because you always see these like really cool, unique games that come out, and especially knowing some of the teams what are in ID. I'm excited. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited.
Apparently, there's gonna be over 100 games shown.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking purely indie. We're not talking like exclusive or Xbox Studio, presents or anything. We're talking like indie. Like like what was the name? Before they went to Xbox. No, they're still not with Xbox, but the game with the Ori and the Will of the Wisp and the Blind Forest, like those type of people before they came with Mac, before they exclusive. Wow.
I'm hoping. I don't know if this counts as indie anymore, but I'm pretty sure it does. I'm hoping to see a bit more Prime Memory Infinite. I'm hoping we get a bit of that. To be honest with you.
That is a good question. What is the category? Well, indie is basically anybody that doesn't have a publisher.
Yeah, but I don't know what the deal with Prime Memory is anymore because I know they kind of got picked up with Microsoft funded. I don't know what the deal was exactly, but
did they? Did they?
There was something because I remember he was doing it by himself, right?
Right. Which he still is, I think. Hopefully. Well,
I think he's got a team of people.
Even if he has a team of people, right? There's a difference between somebody sponsoring you and somebody fully giving you publishing, capability, right? So let's look at what was the name of the game that PlayStation. So one would be, what's the name of that Asian game?
Genshin Impact?
No, way before. It was a Sega Dreamcast.
Oh,
game.
Persona?
No, it was a Sega Dreamcast game, and then they came up with a part 2 on the Xbox. Shenmue. So when they did Shenmue 3, PlayStation, in all their awesome wisdom and glory and flauntiness, decided to tell the producer that he needs to raise 3 million. I might be quoting this wrong with the money, but he needed me a certain amount of money, and then Sony would then back him up. PlayStation would then back him up.
Yep.
Which would then lead the game to be an exclusive PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's another game, Lost Souls Aside. That was another game. Another Korean game developer. I think he's Korean. He could be either Korean or Japanese, one or the other. But Lost Souls Aside was a game that was inspired by Final Fantasy 15 and Devil May Cry. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet looking game. Sony got involved. Can't say Sony. PlayStation got involved. You don't hear about the game anymore. And it's been what, 7 years? I think 6, 7 years.
I probably heard about it and forgot about it then.
Yeah, I mean it's on YouTube, but it's kind of like when I think of publishers, I think like these are the guys that, okay, if Microsoft picked them up, they already had the game close to being released.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only way. As a business, I can only see myself helping publishing a game and saying, "Oh, published by, Digital Cypha Entertainment." Anyways, that's the only way I can see it happening. But when you have a studio, like even the guy from what's his name? The guy V1 Interactive, who did Disintegration. He was an indie studio as well, but he had a certain amount of people. He left 343, created his own studio, pushed the game out, and this is where they're at now. They're closing. So it's a hard world, especially with what happened last year with the pandemic and everything. It's a hard world. So it's good to see 100 games coming out, 100+ games coming out. If they're gonna be shown as it, people were saying that it would be. I'm excited to see what single player, hack and slash, blood going everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready.
For sure, man. Like I remember, what was it? A couple years ago now, the game Inside. I remember when that got announced and released, people were big over that game, man. There's a lot of cool indie games within the idea of Xbox. Well, I don't want to say they shade the industry, but they come out as a pretty big splash into the world.
I think Inside became an example for future games like itself, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you was gonna say something, Dio?
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, some of my favorite games are indie games, man. Like Darkest Dungeon, Monster Train. Among Us, Slay the Spire. Yeah. Oh man, Slay the Spire, bro. I love that game.
Especially feel like you mentioned Among Us, right? I feel like you definitely see these games that, say, with Fall Guys, it's only made by a few people, and then they come out, and especially with indie games, they sometimes just get picked up and just become huge.
Yep. Oh yeah. Especially look at Hades. Look how big that got, right?
Yep.
I really hope that comes to Xbox because I have it on the Switch and I like playing on the Switch, but I know I would enjoy it more if I was actually using my Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what else you got for us, Don?
Well, so we got a update on the EA investigation.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
He's gonna be on this. Do you have a thing for EA?
Listen, look, I don't think it's a thing with EA. It's a thing with FIFA. Me and FIFA.
Okay. I think
if you live in England or Europe, you about every time you mention you play on Xbox or PlayStation, the question you get asked next is, do you play FIFA?
Okay.
As far as one lives in England, that's the conversation. And I've never been a big kind of sports guy, but I know FIFA's kind of been. I think, like I said this last episode, FIFA Ultimate Team's kind of been their big kind of money farm, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And things are wrapping up from last episode, the idea was that the kind of backdoor websites selling EA FIFA card players directly to accounts, essentially, through large amounts of money. You know, talking about $750 to thousands. It's it's insane. And EA kind of put out a big statement on last week, just after the episode, and they basically kind of had to clarify what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And they're basically saying, hey, look, we've kind of permanently banned a few accounts already for doing this kind of stuff. And I believe their words were some EA accounts were compromised, but I think they're using that as a kind of scapegoat language rather than what's actually happened, because at the end of the day, it's going through the EA systems, this kind of player granting.
Yeah.
But they banned accounts of legitimate FIFA gamers who bought the game. They bought the game, and they, some employees approach them and say, "Hey, you can buy this."
Well, I think it's rather that they implode the employees, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they let's see. The exact quote was, "We will permanently ban any accounts identified as receiving items transferred nefariously." So it sounds like even if you brought these items from these players, you're gonna get hit as well.
That is,
which is it sucks because you spend you spend a lot of money. These guys spend thousands of dollars or euros or pounds, whatever, on these players, and
you're not getting it back.
yeah, you're actually getting banned. And I don't know if that's just for FIFA 21, the current game, or whether that ties to future kind of installments in that franchise. But I'm glad that EA are kind of taking this a bit more seriously now, and I'm hoping, especially with their whole controversy over loot boxes and I believe, as I call it, surprise mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm hoping like this is kind of a wake up call or a shake. Like, hey, look, you're. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing on EA,
Yes, you are.
but I guess they kind of agreed that what they're getting with these, FIFA Ultimate Team packs, it's caused people to do this, and look where it's led.
Yeah, I mean, there's an easy fix, right? Turn loot boxes off and let us earn it in game, like how we used to.
Yeah, we'll just make it easier. The thing is that they've kind of tied the players' hands where it's so hard to actually grind for this. I can't remember where it was exactly, but I did see a tweet where someone had kind of worked out the math on how long it would take to open a certain amount of packs, and it was like 20,000 hours or something ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
And it's insane, man.
Wow. I don't know what to say, man. It's hard because there are other games, like I remember Destiny 1, where people would literally stand in front of the cave. I was one of those people standing in front of the cave.
Yep. The loot cave, I remember.
Just shooting, just to get loot, and just to get the high percentage of a legendary, not a legendary, legendary, or
exotic and legendaries.
Yeah, you're saying, here's what we're saying: gamers are hungry. Gamers are hungry to get to the top. So it's very the employees knew better. In my opinion, if my thoughts is that these guys, they made the game, and then they're playing the game, and then somebody notices that the person they're playing against is an employee of the game, and say, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 or a couple, pound, whatever that amounts to, right? If you give me blah, 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 you would figure like, yo, that is my phone. You figure that they would not do that, being that they're under contract, they're underneath NDAs, they're underneath all these, agreements. because these guys are leading gamers to believe that this is possible, this is okay, up until this point, until EA decides to, drop the hammer, and then they're out of money. It's
Yeah.
this is hard. It's heartbreaking, to see.
Yeah,
stuff
it's,
like
it's
that.
I think it's the level of integrity, that
Exactly. Yeah.
you there's the level of you don't really care about how much money players have to spend or time they have to spend on the fact that
Yeah.
to get to the top.
And I mean, it even shows you like how little those devs or whoever was doing this within the company value their jobs, right? So they feel probably underpaid. They probably feel undervalued. So if they get caught doing this, what do they care, right?
Right. Because then they can make what, thousands a month just for.
I mean,
Yeah.
is either that
Insane.
is either that or somebody's been doing it for a while and it's been considered okay until
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Like, how long has this been going on?
Oh, for sure, definitely,
But,
definitely.
so once again, what you're seeing here is ESO. ESO is a multiplayer online game. Dio, when we say multiplayer online video game RPG, right? How many people is in is in this ESO? Because I see you're talking about millions, right?
Yes.
It's
If you're going off of like all the PlayStation and PC players and Xbox, yeah, it's in the millions already.
now
Damn.
you saw me running around in there, in a horse and stuff. This is the beginning area. This is not the highest populated area. This is where newbies come to, right, to learn the craft. Now, I'm not a newbie. If you can see, there's a big eyeball. 2 out of 3. I'm trying to finish this map. I'm trying to clear the map so I don't have to come back, with this character. But I think when and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you start the game if you create a new character, right, and you start the game with your new character, most likely they would put you in the same area with all the new people. So you see a lot more vibrant people running around and stuff like that.
So it depends on which expansion you have, because each expansion has their own starting area, and they've actually been going away from starting everyone in the same area,
Okay.
and making it more narrative driven. You'll still see other players, but it's almost like a lot less. The game has definitely gone in a path more where, especially because so many people, I don't want to blame just the game. I think I've hit on this before. I mean, with so many people on social media, like YouTube and everything, making guides, a lot of people realize I need to get out of the starting area as soon as possible and go to this area over here so I can grind out, And that's the problem with a lot of MMOs. Like, it seems dead here, where when the game first launched, you would see a lot of people. But instead of being there, they're going to be somewhere like Imperial City Sewers. They're going to be in Skyreach. They're going to be in a whole number of other areas where it's better and more efficient to grind out your levels.
Got you. Yeah, it's a if you've never played an MMO before, I would say now would be a good time because ESO or Elder Scrolls Online is on Game Pass.
Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
it is a game that you would have to buy to play outside of Game Pass. So the fact that this is available, it speaks, speaks good, to the gamer who has access to that. And it has PvP, PvE, it has dungeon delving, and I think I'm just listing the minimums. I think there's a lot more than that, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, anything you could do in most other MMORPGs, you can do in this. I would say this is probably the most casual friendly MMO.
Dio, you gotta talk to them. Talk to the people who don't know what MMO is. We know that there are people who know what MMOs are, right? But we're talking to those who have no clue what an MMO is. This open world experience, because the reason why I'm saying this is because when we talk about games as a service or software as a service, that's what games are at this point, like Outriders and ESO and Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, where you're playing the game but you're paying like a monthly fee of sorts. or you're paying a not subscription. Yeah, ESO Plus is a subscription, but you're paying cosmetics and stuff in the store to keep the game alive. You know,
Yeah.
for people who don't indulge into MMOs, won't really understand that type of discussion, right? Because you know, I think the closest thing would be like a battle pass, right, for Destiny and Halo and things of that nature.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
know, so but you know, when you look at a game like I don't even want to say let's imagine, because that's not the case. World of Warcraft for you, Dio, is a game that requires a subscription. There is a free mode, or a starter
Yep.
pack, if you will, that you can play up until what, 30, level 30?
I think it's 20 still.
20? Okay, but you can play each character up to level 20, so that's multiple playthroughs, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing with Final Fantasy, but both of these games are subscription based. I think Final Fantasy is $13 and $15, and then World of Warcraft,
There's a similar price range.
similar price range. But they handle the game differently. I think only now Square Enix put out there that they're starting a whole new chapter in the
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 universe.
Yeah.
Whereas with World of Warcraft, they're sticking to the area, they're sticking to the lore. I mean, the lore, I guess the lore would change a little bit with Final Fantasy when they're new chapter. So I guess that's what you were saying, is that that's a huge undertaking, because you've already acquired so much story, so much content in your previous game. To go new is like starting over, where World of Warcraft won't do that. I don't know if it makes sense to me. I think it's like, oh yeah, go ahead, do a whole new like Final Fantasy 14.5, but you think it's good and bad at the same time, Dio.
I think it's definitely easier to do on Final Fantasy, because that's what Final Fantasy is at its core, right? Every Final Fantasy game is a new story ever since the first one. And unless you have those, X2s and whatever. But for the most part, for the core games in the timeline are all separate storylines and separate universes with recurring, certain characters and themes. But that's why it would be easier for them to do it. I still think Warcraft could do it, but because Warcraft RTS games 1, 2, and 3 were a continuous story, it's almost expected for Warcraft to do the same.
Okay.
So the best thing for them to do, honestly, would be to end it, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people wouldn't like to hear that because they want to keep playing it.
Heresy.
But yeah, but I mean, you can still support the server. I mean, they've already proven that with WoW Classic that people will continue to play the same old game if they like it, and they'll pay for it. And now they're bringing the Burning Crusade expansion on the same, path as Classic. So they could definitely do it with the current game also if they wanted to, and then make a new MMO. But I think because they've lost so much of the creative original people they've had in Blizzard, they would never do it, because I'm not saying the people who are there now are not creative, but it's not the same as it was. It doesn't have that same culture. It's changed a lot due to the merger with Activision.
So to prevent people from saying this is not vanilla, or this is not core, or this is not the initial I guess lore per se, they kind of, it's like somebody gives you a project and say, we want you to base off of this, and then you just keep building on top of the same template instead of starting from scratch. Is that what you would say it would be like? Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Jen. All right. So, of course, we want to acknowledge Lewis, for stopping in. Definitely thank you for coming in. We need to get one of these guys into the podcast, man. So, and then we got Jen. Jen, what is up? Jen is a part of the infamous crew on Halo, who's, basically the Don CJG's, partner in crime, the Bonnie and Clyde, people. What is up, Jen? Thank you so much for being in a part of the podcast, within the community, just chatting with us. But guys, this is it. I think Dio has family over. You don't want to take him away from that. So we're good. This is the end of our podcast for today. We are on social media. We're on Twitter individually. The Don C's AG, where they can find you at.
They can find me on pretty much everywhere as with Don CJG.
Okay. And Dio, where can they find you at?
Pretty much everywhere too. Deals. Like I'm the only one so far until people start to copy. You know?
Yeah,
Those trolls.
He's active on the Twitch. If you wanna troll Dio, he is happy to troll you back. Trust me. So, and then you can find me also on Twitch as well. Ebonics on Twitch. Sorry, I said Twitch. Dio's on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. The Don CJG's on Twitter. And Don is also on Twitch as well. So again, thank you very much for being here, and stay safe.